Joining Hadid Mercer Rug Cleaning Hotline is Rio Robinson. What's going on, Rio?
I'm feeling great right now. I'm feeling good, man. We have 7 wins before December for the first time in like 14 years, so I'm feeling lovely right now.
Yeah, that's where I want to start. What was your initial reaction to Kendall Fuller grabbing that interception in the end zone?
Oh, I went absolutely nuts. Our section 139 at FedEx Field, that was probably the most electric I've felt that stadium in quite some time, possibly ever. You could definitely feel the atmosphere, and you could feel the fan base starting to accept that playoffs may be in our near future.
And that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the show. You go to the games. You're a Commanders super fan. You're a YouTuber. People can follow you on Twitter, Rio_Robinson91. And so I felt like from the media perspective, following it over the last few weeks, ever since the news came out that Dan Snyder was going to possibly sell the team, that more and more people have been going to FedEx Field. Is that what you felt like? And what was the crowd and the atmosphere like this Sunday?
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely a better turnout because we're getting the party started, because it's going to be absolute pandemonium the day where Dan actually sells, and we see that Adam Schefter tweet come out that confirms the news. But that, and the team is winning. Like 6 of the last 7, we've went on 2 little mini win streaks. We're usually good for 1 win streak at a time, and we can actually sense playoffs. Like, this team has a good shot of winning double-digit games this year, and the fans feel it. And this team feels different. It feels like Ron and them are finally starting to put things together, and their vision and plan is finally starting to culminate.
Absolutely. I mean, we got to give some pats on the back, some shout-outs to Scott Turner. Feel like he's done an awesome job calling plays. Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, the special teams coach. I mean, literally, offense, defense, special teams all coming together for the first time this year, for the first time in the Rivera era. And there weren't that many mistakes. No big penalties that really cost Washington against the Falcons. You would look at the score and say, hey, I wish we had 20. I wish we made that extra point. I wish we got into the end zone again instead of a field goal and had maybe 24 points for the game. Because moving forward, I don't think 19 is enough in the next 2 games against the New York Giants. But I will say, if we're rushing for 176 yards a game, it could be enough because we'll just dominate the time of possession.
Oh, yeah, we're dominating now. We're leading the league in time of possession right now. At some point, as we start to face better competition down the stretch, especially if we want to play into January in the playoff season, we're going to have to be able to score over 20 points. And consistently, we got to be able to put some of these drives together. We can't miss extra points, and we can't leave plays on the field, and that's like my main gripe with Taylor. It's not the turnovers, it's that there's a lot of plays left on the field and wide open receivers that we don't see. But I'll take it, man. Winning is winning, and run game and the defense has us looking like we can compete with any team in the league right now, so I have no complaints.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. Winning is winning, right? I don't care about the score at the final, at the final buzzer there. As long as we have one more point than the opposition, that's the most important thing. Defensively, this was a big game because we were missing Benjamin St-Juste, and I was wondering how the secondary would step up. But I look back at this box score here, and I say, man, it's more about the defensive line and the linebackers that might have struggled a little bit. And part of that, you got to give Atlanta credit. They had a great game plan there. They were going to run the heck out of the ball, and that's what they did. We had 176 yards rushing. They had 167. So they really did well. And I'm wondering, Rio, is that something that we should be cautious about, something we should be worried about going against Saquon next week? Because, look, there was one play specifically that's been highlighted on social media where all they did was double-team Deron Payne, triple-team Jonathan Allen, and they busted it up the gut for like 15 or 20 yards. That's a recipe for disaster if Washington can't stop that.
It is a recipe for disaster, and with the way that the offense is playing, the defense cannot afford to have a bad game. But I feel like not just Saquon, I don't know if people realize Daniel Jones is 4-1 and should be 5-0 against this Washington team, and we make him look like Lamar Jackson when we play him. I remember him taking a read option like 60 yards for a touchdown last year, but he got called back for a penalty. And Mariota, he was finding the way they were able to move the ball was Mariota's legs and their run game, and they can present a problem in these next 2 Giants games. We can't sleep on Daniel Jones because just like Dak, he kind of dominates us for the most part, and he shows up and looks like a different player when he plays against Washington. So we got to definitely have a plan for him this Sunday and the Sunday in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, that's a great point. Daniel Jones is really killing people, not with his arm, but with his feet. And hopefully, this was a good test against Marcus Mariota because he looked solid. I mean, there was one play where he pulled it, and I was like, this dude is fast as hell. He might get into the end zone. God dang. I mean, thank goodness we were able to bring him down, but I think that was a good test because Daniel Jones is going to do the similar things there on the read option type play. You're listening to Awadd Radio, joined by Rio Robinson, YouTuber and superfan of the Washington Commanders. Check him out on YouTube and on Twitter at Rio_Robinson91. And so here's what I will say, though, about that Falcons game that gives me a little bit of confidence against the Giants. The Falcons went right down the field and got a field goal. And I feel like watching this team for 29 years of my lifetime, when they go down early, usually it's an ugly game. The offense responded and went right down the field for a touchdown and gave us a lead. So I feel like, hey, even if New York punches us in the face, we can respond better now.
Yeah, it's like this team finally, they can survive those moments where we usually crumble. And the football gods are finally looking out for us. We're finally starting to get bounces come our way. Daron Payne getting his hand on that pass for the Kendall Fuller interception is what saved the game. Because I don't know if anyone noticed, Cordero Patterson has a walk-in touchdown if that ball's not deflected. He's wide open, and he's just going to moonwalk right into the end zone if Payne doesn't tip that up for Fuller to catch it. So we're finally starting to have luck on our side. The football gods and karma is starting to come our way. They must consense that Dan Snyder is on his way out because we're finally starting to get some good luck on our side.
Yeah, man, I totally feel you, man. On that final drive, I was thinking, we're going to make a play. Somehow, some way, we're going to make a play to win this game, whereas the beginning of the season, we felt like we were losing every close game, and I still can't believe we lost that Titans game. I will forever keep saying on the radio, Heineke wins that game with 4 shots from the 2-yard line. That's why there's no chance in the world you can even think about bringing back Carson Wentz because Heineke's just a gamer, and he just... he's better in the clutch. He's better in tough situations, maybe because he's got more to lose than a guy like Carson Wentz who already has millions and millions in the bank. Let's talk about Brian Robinson Jr. just for a second here. 18 carries, 105 yards, the long of 21. Everyone's been talking about the touchdown catch where he trucked not one, but 2 people on his way into the end zone. This is the kind of running back we thought we were going to get out of Alabama. He had the tragedy there where he's carjacked and shot, and then when he comes back, he just didn't look the same. He didn't look 100%. At this point this season, we may have a top 5 running back in the NFL. I mean, it's truly awesome to see Brian Robinson Jr. grow.
Oh, yeah, man. First of all, he has a great last name, so I will always support him. But this guy, he got his legs back under him. We wondered how long it was going to take him to get back. He got shot a couple times at his lower extremities. He got his football legs under him and his burst back, and he's looked like a different player the last couple weeks. It's one person never takes him down. The guy runs north to south. He doesn't dance. He's very decisive through the hole. I am very excited to see. He may end up around 700-800 yards, despite the fact that he didn't even play football for the first month or so of the season. I'm excited to see where he can come from. And when we drafted him, I felt like at some point he was going to be the lead back here, and it already looks like that's the case. And this 2-headed monster with him and Gibson is the recipe for success for this offense because Taylor's a gamer, but for some reason Taylor hasn't used his legs recently. I don't know, maybe he's playing it safe rather to try to keep his job, but he needs to utilize his legs again, and we need to get a little bit more from him with his arm because the run game, it's great, but it's not as sustainable every single week, and we got to get some balance going on offense at some point.
Yeah. I mean, if Taylor played better, we win that game by 2 scores, maybe even 3. Here with Rio Robinson on the Hadid Mercer Rug Cleaning Hotline. I'm Adam Epstein. This is Awadd Radio. All right, let's get your game plan for the New York Football Giants this weekend. Like you, I want Taylor to run more. There was specifically a 3rd down play where I think he easily gets it with his legs, but he decided to throw it, forced it downfield. It was incomplete. I'm okay with the amount of attempts he had, about 23, but I want more from the wide receivers. I don't know what we need to do. or how we need to do it, but we got to get Jahan Dotson back involved in the offense. De'Ami Brown's been good, like one catch a game. I'd like more from him. Curtis Samuel, he didn't have a catch this past weekend. He had 4 rushes for 13 yards, and he's great as getting him involved in the trick play, but he's even better in space as a wide receiver. So what's your game plan for the New York Giants this weekend?
First things first, I need the defense to continue on the dominant trajectory that it's been on. The defensive line is playing out of its mind. Deron Payne's playing at a Pro Bowl level. Allen's playing at an elite level, all pro-esque level right now. Jamin Davis is balling. But let's make Daniel Jones a passer. Let's not let him win with his legs. Make him a passer and take Saquon out the game. If we can, I'll live with Daniel Jones beating us with his arm, because that's not the way that they win football games. They win ugly and gritty like we do. Secondly, Taylor Heineke, you got to have a good game, a good complete game at some point. Like, we're getting by right now. We're squeaking by with very minimal quarterback play, but we need Taylor to have a complete game from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. Use your legs and play with your hair on fire like we saw. I want to see the Taylor we saw versus Brady in that playoff game, because we haven't really seen him since. And I want to see that again. I don't want to see Taylor playing safe. Like, take your chances, but and also, like you said, the receivers, you want to see more out of Johnson and stuff. He has to look at the receivers, because there's a lot of open guys that he doesn't see. And some of it's from a clean pocket. See the field. Your experience, you've been in the offense for years. Make some plays. If we can get adequate play from the quarterback, we are going to make some noise in the NFC this season.
Rio, always appreciate you hopping on the show. That's Rio Robinson. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yep, you're listening to Awadd Radio here on the new Sports Radio 910 The Fan, now at 105.1 FM. Don't go anywhere.